Okay, I think everybody knows who is at my left here. Bob Wolfram, head coach of Wyomissing here. It's Lancaster Lebanon League, a media day. We're in the midst of Section 4, and Bob and I were just talking a moment ago. There's been a lot of change going on here at Wyomissing. In the section, you've stayed the same, but a lot of the teams are new, right?
Yeah, I have no idea how that happens. Everybody seems to have changed their numbers. I think we got 2 that came down into our division, 1 that came up, and obviously teams have to leave for that to happen. So our schedules, I think we have 4 teams that we played last year. Everything's new. We got 2 teams out of state, not out of state, but they're not PIAA teams, and it's going to be different, that's for sure.
Yeah, right. I mean, you're going down there. I think you're playing like Haverford School, which is an interact team, and that's pretty interesting. I mean, how did that all come about? I mean, very interesting.
Just looking for games.
Yeah.
We were into May and didn't have 2 games yet, and so we're looking out of state and we're looking anybody, and Haverford, a good program. Interesting, my dad coached at Frankfurt High School. I'm talking back in the 50s and 60s, and their opening game was always the Haverford School.
Wow.
I have a football at home with the score of Frankfurt and Haverford from the 50s, so I've always known about them, and all those interact teams have some guys, so that'll be, we start with Southern Columbia and then go to them. That's a tough opening.
That's got to be pressure on the coaching staff, that with that, I mean, in trying to, do some off-season scouting, there's a lot of burden on, trying to find out, what these teams do well or historically and what you might be able to expect from them going forward, right?
Sure. Southern Columbia, everybody knows what they do.
Right, sure.
It's stopping it is the problem. But, everybody has some film out, max preps and all that kind of stuff. And we'll exchange film. If you have a scrimmage in a game,
sure,
you got enough to work on.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. And the Haverford School game and the Academy of the New Church are both down there, both Philly area teams. In fact, the Academy of the New Church it's 15 minutes from where I grew up.
Wow,
so,
that's great stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty neat to go back home.
Yeah, and so obviously every year is a new year, and, hearing you, just talk to Paul Roberts just a couple of minutes ago. Sounds like there's still a lot of moving pieces with your squad as you're, going into, practice.
There's a lot of returning people, but there's a few positions where we're all young, and we really have no idea who's going to step forward and take the job over. So it's interesting because we use 3 quarterbacks all summer, and we don't worry about whether we win or lose in 7-on-7. So they got to show what they can do. Now we'll put the pads on and see how it goes, but we have no idea at this point.
Yeah, and that's, with that too, trying to put the chemistry together for a team as you go into the season. What's a reasonable expectation that, through what week would you expect to have your finger on the chemistry of your team so that you can game plan effectively?
Well, I found over the years that the first game you never know. You can have a great team and they're just not ready to play, or some guys aren't, they're too nervous or whatever. But after you get past the first game, you got an idea what kind of team you have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and your coaching staff as well. I mean, understanding obviously the strength and weaknesses of those guys on the field is just as important as how that team kind of meshes with one another, right?
Sure. We lost Al Silveri this year.
Yeah.
Tom Baldwin retired, and Jack Paris retired. So that's about 140 years of coaching that we have to replace. So I immediately became the oldest guy on the staff, and the age average of our coaching staff went way down.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, it's a pleasure for me to watch your coaching staff work, on the sidelines during the game, because they're just so, in tune to what's going on. What do you attribute, that to? I mean, you have such a dedicated group out there. Is it just their love for the game and Wyomissing that permeates through that group?
First of all, a whole lot of them have a lot of experience. They want to do things right, and we've been together, so we know what to expect. We know that we're going to have these expectations of the kids and ourselves, and it's not new. When we get started, it's always exciting early. When you come back, like Monday, I'll be nervous Monday morning, but everybody knows what their job is, and everybody knows how to relate to the kids, and you can be tough on kids as long as you're okay with them after practice, and they know that you care about them. So, we do it both ways.
I'll tell you what, Bob, thank you very much for your time. I wish you all the luck in the world this year. It's going to be a very, very interesting season for Wyomissing football, and best of luck.
Thank you.
All right,
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, more interviews to come.